This is High Blood Pressure Awareness Month, and today we are asking the tough questions. Why are more Nigerian youth battling hypertension? What role do lifestyle, environment, and access to care play? Stay with us as we speak with Nurse Oluwayemi Banjoko, who's the Chief Nursing Officer at the University of Lagos Medical Center. She sheds light into the factors putting our young generation at risk.
First of all, for clarity, hypertension is seen to be or is known to be a persistent raise in blood pressure. So, among our youths, recently we've seen that it's been a bit on the high incidence, on the rise, and things we could see as part of what would have led to such things are the lifestyle that the youths have been involved in the aspect of their feeding, their movements. As in when we talk about feeding, we talk about the use of processed foods among the youths. Of course, we see them as they're restless. They don't want to sit down and make their own meals. So they're involved in having takeout foods that, have lots of salts, seasonings, and all that, which could lead to increase in their blood pressure. So we see all these things as part of the things that led to the rise in blood pressure among these youths. Though we could say that some of them have an hereditary factors that runs in their family, so they could be prone to it. Other factors which are lack of enough activities, movement of the body. You see them on social media, you see them with their phones, they sit down for quite a long time, they are spending more time, on the computer, play games. So all these activities restrict them from easy movements. So it results into raised in blood pressure. And all these meals that we look into, canned meals, salt food, frizzy drinks, all these contribute to raised in blood pressure. Stress is part of the stressors, the part of the conditions that could make an individual to have a blood pressure. Because when the body is under stress, there are some hormones that are being released, and that hormones result into, thinning of the lumen, constricting the lumen, thereby making the blood flow to be reduced or to be in force. Looking at not having easy access. Of course, we see youth as, we don't see them so much like that in the hospital. And majority of them will not see hospital, in quotes, as the first line of place where they want to go to. They want to look into the internet and go and get their medication themselves. So there is reduced attendance of them with the except for, environments where they are in school, like the university session, where the students are in school and they have a medical center or a medical access to. Outside that, you naturally don't find them in the normal hospital where they can walk in themselves. So when they don't have this easy access, they don't have the knowledge of what they need to know about themselves. But instead, you see them, even when they come into the hospital, they will tell you what they have read on the internet. They will tell you what their friends have told them. So that is, bringing them a restriction, a kind of slowdown or a kind of delay precisely in coming in to access medical care, which reduce their detection of that hypertension on time. BMI is the body mass index, as you have said it, and is measured with your weight and your height doubled. And it is in a range whereby when you see that the BMI is higher than 25, you see that that person is at risk. And then we see that we have more males, having this kind of, having the hypertension more than the female. And it is mostly seen more in us Africans, than in other places. So all this contributes to this blood pressure issue. And body mass index and abdominal fat, they work in hand. When there is a large abdominal fat, as in, obesity, and the abdomen is quite large, there are pressures, there are disturbances to the vital organs and to the heart. So there is, there's not enough space. So the heart is working with force, kind of. So there is a kind of pressure for the heart to be able to work freely, because the abdominal fat or the obesity is disturbing the heart and other vital organs, the kidneys as well. So the BMI of every adult must be within range, at least below 25 or 25. When it's getting above that, you see that that person is at risk of having a high blood pressure or a raised in blood pressure. Sometimes it is not everyone that have a raise in blood pressure that can be categorized as having high blood pressure. If condition had led to that raise in blood pressure, by the time the condition is reduced or removed, the blood pressure may come back to normal. But if persistently the BP continues to get raised over a period of a month or 2 weeks consistent, then the individual can be worked on. And if it doesn't go down, then you realize that such people, you can tell them that, okay, this person is having a blood pressure. Let me say like 45% awareness, because they're not tailoring to that line, as in looking into their health, not necessarily blood pressure alone, but our youths in relation to their awareness about their health is still not enough. But how can we help in this manner? With the university system, we ensure that as they move in, they go through a series of investigations to determine any kind of condition they may have. And blood pressure is part of it. Hypertension is part of, all those checks that they do for them. So most university setup go through that. And I think it is extended to secondary school children as well, when they are trying to move from the primary level to the secondary level. They go through some of these tests to determine or detect any form of condition that child may have. So I think on that aspect, a little of awareness is coming in that. But I think more should be done on jingles, on flyers, on radio talks, especially stations or radio programs that we know, in quotes, are attractive to youths, and social media, write-ups and all that, for them to be constantly reminded about things in relation to blood pressure. Because one, he does not give signs. He does not have like specific or permanent symptoms. And for it to now give symptoms in these youths, it will have gone, something serious. Some will tell you, it does not run in my family, so I don't need to check. Or they will tell you, I'm not yet 40. I don't need to check my blood pressure. We see blood pressure, raised blood pressure, in as little as age 10, sometimes age 14. That means I'm not yet 40. I'm not old. Do you get? Or it doesn't run in my family, I don't need to check my blood. Everybody, depending, no matter the age, as long as the person has gone off a teenager, is now a young youth, they should check their blood pressure on regular basis. Okay, I don't have time, you can have it once in 2 weeks for the young adults. And once you notice there is a raise or a change, please ensure that you visit the hospital or you visit the nearest place to take care of their health. Let's start with the home, with the family. These days, you see families, nobody, many families will tell you, just eat and ensure that you eat. It has, that idea of having a good meal is being swapped off, probably because of the economy. But I want to say that we can have good meals even with little money. All we need to ensure is it is well prepared and you have all the colors. When you want to see a good meal, when we look at colors, you have the green, which is your vegetable. You have the red, which is your tomatoes or your little of your egg or your meat or whatever. You have them in little proportion on a meal plate. Families, we should ensure that our children, even ourselves, eat good meal. Avoid instant pastas like that. Avoid excessive use of salt. We should do away with table salt for, after meal, and they'll tell you the salt is not, and pam, they put it inside the meal. We should ensure that as we are taking care of the elderly or the older ones, maybe the daddy and the mommy in the house, the children too are fractioned into these meals, and ensure that a good meal does not have to be very expensive. It could be our small little money, and then you can have your good, well-prepared meal. I want to encourage parents to ensure that their children make their meals even while in school. If they are able to prepare their meal, they monitor the amount of salt they want to put inside. They can make use of natural ingredients, like using crayfish, use ginger, use garlic, instead of the usual seasoning and all that they have. So if you make your food yourself and you want to cut down on the salt, of course you can do it. But when you are buying it outside, you don't have control over it. Yes, I think I've said it before. Don't wait until you have a symptom. Go for checkups. Check your blood pressure, no matter your age. Blood pressure does not have specific age that it affects. Avoid self-medication. I read it on the internet or it worked for my friend and I'm using it. Go and see your doctor to find out, is this good for me? Let them check you and then you can have your own.
Hypertension among young Nigerians is no longer rare. It is real, rising, and urgent. From schools to families, we all have a role to play. The conversation doesn't end here. Let us act, educate, and push for change. I am Fatima Rachel for Guardian TV.